All right, welcome back to the program. My guest is joining me right now. Okey Umeano, who is the head and the office of the Chief Economist of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Welcome to you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Nancy. It's good to be here.
Likewise, good to have you on the show. Now, I know we have a lot to discuss, but let's just run through at least for the next few minutes. The CMC meeting was held just a few days ago. Can you speak to my audience let's start from the basics. What the CMC meeting is about. That's what the Capital Markets Committee meeting, what is it about? At what points do you have your meeting and all of that, just for educational purposes? Okay.
The Capital Market Committee meeting is a meeting of all the stakeholders in the capital markets. It includes the infrastructures, that's the exchanges, the other capital market operators, and the regulator, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission. We hold it 3 times a year, and at those meetings we discuss everything that has to do with making our market bigger, deeper, and more efficient. So that's what we do. We look at issues around policies that affect the market. We look at products, new products. We look at even the little issues around processes in the market, and we try to make them right.
Okay.
That's what we do.
At the last meeting, what was the consensus on how the capital market has performed in the last few months? I do know in 2020, the capital market performed exceedingly well, even in the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think it was like, what are the second best
in
markets?
The world.
Yes, in the world. 2021, not too badly.
Yeah, not
this
bad.
year, about a 15% return.
Yeah.
Year to date. If we're just opposed to inflation,
yeah.
No, you know,
yeah, but Nancy,
a bit of negative.
Yeah, no, but Nancy, that's really a good performance. Think about it. There are headwinds all over the world. You can see the inflationary pressures everywhere. Everyone is struggling. And for our market to return 15.5% as of yesterday, year to date, that's really a good performance for the equities market. The fixed income market, 5%. Commodities market, 4%. So I would say that our market has sort of weathered the storm. But when you come to inflation and the real return, that's a different thing. But I would say that the market hasn't done badly, especially when you compare the market to other markets around the world. You would see that we have done well.
Okay. So, in essence, should I take this that you guys gave yourself a good sign?
And yeah, we did, but we also know that there's always room for improvement, which is why we discussed certain issues that would help us get better. So some of them include handling Ponzi schemes. The Ponzi schemes sort of scare people away from the market, make investors lose their monies and all that. We also talked about the expired tax waivers on fixed income trades. Of course, we want government to, bring back those waivers because they help reduce transaction costs and help the market to have better returns. We discussed many other things, including the unclaimed dividend issue.
We'll come to that, but let's start with the Ponzi scheme, which I want you to divulge more details on that, because even on this show, many times I've talked about Ponzi schemes, even all the loan sharks. You see that a lot of Ponzi schemes or pyramid schemes are coming with a disguise.
Yes.
And I don't know how far SEC is going in terms of recognizing that and sanctioning, and first of all, even communication and education of the Nigerian public. Okay.
The SEC is doing a lot to communicate. We've been in newspapers, I'm on this show, we've been in on TV at many times talking about this. But in addition to that, the FSRCC, that is the Financial Sector Regulatory Coordinating Committee, has also taken it up. So we as the SEC, the capital market suffers the effect of Ponzi schemes, so does the central bank, so do all the other members of the financial industry. So we also have a forum where we are also trying to educate the public. We've been in the media lately, we've been to newspapers and all that, telling people. But the thing is, let me just tell Nigerians that it's always important to verify who you're giving your money to. For instance, if somebody comes to you with an offer that appears too good to be true, it probably is not true. If someone tells you he's going to give you 10% returns every month, that compounds to over 120% in a year. That's not going to be true. And also in the capital market, we don't even let the capital market operators promise returns. So if somebody is promising you outrageous returns, you should know that something is wrong. And we've even made it easier. We have established what we call the capital market operator search. It's on the SEC website, sec.gov.ng. Get there, look for the Siemens portal, click on it, and you type in the name of whoever is marketing you to give them money. And it comes up whether he's registered with SEC or not. Or you can place a call to SEC or send an email. Very simple. And you verify. Why it is important that you only patronize registered operators is that we look into what they do. We oversee what the registered operators do. We make sure that your monies are safe. For instance, in our fund market, CIS funds, what we call collective investment schemes, or what people call mutual funds, we ensure that there's custody of the money. So what it means is that custodians hold the money while the manager manages. So your money never gets into the hands of the manager. So your money is always safe. So even if the manager, the management company, the asset manager has any problem, is bankrupt, is whatever, is insolvent, your money is safe. So these are, we have all these, risk management measures we have put in place to protect people's monies. But then you have to help us by putting your money into firms that are registered with the SEC.
And licensed.
Licensed,
It's good that you said this, because even the first thing that I normally say, especially to people, sometimes there was a day I was in one of the big hotels here in Abuja. I went for an event, and as I was around the lobby going out, a young gentleman just came to me, gave me a flyer, I looked at it. Oh my, we can double your money. I looked at him. So he looked at me, I think he now recognized who I was. Yeah. So I was like, is your company registered with SEC? At that point, he just started, I think that's just the first port of call. And the first thing you should do also is just to go on the website and just click the name of the company marketing you. So I hope that information has been taken by our viewers. How about the legal crowdfunding platforms?
Okay. So for the crowdfunding, what we did was, when we saw that the MSMEs could not raise money in the traditional exchanges because of the scale, the size, we decided to come up with rules around crowdfunding. These rules allow these little companies to raise money through crowdfunding platforms. However, these platforms must be registered with the SEC, so that the SEC will also have oversight. When monies are paid into these platforms, how do we make sure that these monies get to the issuers? How do we make sure that the monies are used for what the issuers said they would be used for? And that's why we decided that we should come up with these rules. But some unscrupulous ones have refused to get registered. So what that means is that when the unsuspecting public puts in money into those platforms, nobody's protecting them. So that's what the warning we are giving. We're asking that operators of such crowdfunding platforms come into the SEC and register using the rules that we have created.
How about for those that have not registered and still taking money from people?
We are coming after them.
Are you coming after them, or you started coming after them?
We have started coming after them. So what we are doing, our enforcement department has started compiling names, have started reaching out, started, the SEC has some investigative, powers. We have a police unit and all that. We go after them. The ones we get, we close them, we prosecute the promoters. So that's the promise we are making to Nigerians.
Are there some that have been prosecuted now? Are there some that have
I know some are
in the court,
some the process is on for some right now as we speak. Both the crowdfunding firms and the Ponzi schemes.
Okay, how about even for some licensed operators? For some of your licensed operators that still, in there you see a bit of shenanigans with the management and all of that. They can even promise outrageous returns. Yeah. How do you deal with those people? They are licensed, they are registered, legal business, but somehow illegal stuff still go on in the company, and they bring money, take money from people. Yeah.
We have sanctions for that. What we do is we try our best to inspect them, to monitor them. But if you could, slip off our radar, And that's why we say that people can, send us letters, send us reports of such unscrupulous behavior in the market. If there's any capital market operator that is registered, that is, carrying out some shenanigans, let the SEC know. The SEC will take action immediately. But we have, procedures in place. We have processes in place to check. But like I said, sometimes a few could slip off. So we would need information. So if you have your monies with any capital market operator and the operator is not treating you the way they should, let the SEC know.
No. Let's go to the big elephant in the room, which was also declared during your meeting about the 177 billion naira in unclaimed dividend. That's money that is just hanging in there. People have not claimed the dividends. That was for 2021. I guess for 2022 will still be compiled. We may get that later on. What is the Securities and Exchange Commission doing about this, despite the e-dividend policy being in place?
Okay. One of the things we are doing is to make sure that more unclaimed dividends do not get in there. What I mean by more is when new investors come in, they are well mandated from day one so that their dividends don't start accumulating also. So what we have now are dividends accumulating to shares that have not been claimed in the past. Remember around between 2008 and 2010, there was a time there were a lot of IPOs and a lot of people bought shares in names that weren't theirs. So we have that identity issue. Okay. So for about 2 years now, we have opened a window for such people to come in and claim their shares. Of course, if those shares are not claimed, when dividends are paid on those shares, they keep accumulating as unclaimed. That's what is going on. So over the years, dividends continue to be paid to those shares. So what we are saying is, if you know that you bought securities, you bought shares at that time in names that are not yours, we have opened a window where nobody is prosecuting you or anything. If you can prove that those are your shares, you can get those shares back now, and then you can claim all the dividends. And then one other thing that has raised it is that many Nigerians are yet to mandate their accounts for the e-dividend. We created an e-dividend system that allows dividends to be paid directly into bank accounts. Yes. So, but the investor has to mandate his or her shares. What that means is that the investor finds out the shares he has, which companies, finds out the registrars of those companies, fills a form, just a form, and in the form, the person verifies his account details. The bank helps. The bank will stamp that those are the correct account details. And these dividends get in there automatically. So the process is there. It's just for investors to now, take advantage of it.
So are you saying that this unclaimed dividend is as a result of that lag that we had between 2008 and I think 3-4 years later when we had those IPOs and all of that? A
large chunk of it. How
about the other part? Because some people also ask me questions sometimes about, I bought shares many years ago, or even during the consolidation of the banks.
Yes.
I still get those kind of...
That's when those happened, yeah.
Okay. So, or some people will be like, I've been buying shares, I don't even know where they are. What do I do, Nancy? I don't. Okay. Some don't even know their registrars.
Okay.
Where should they begin from?
Okay. So first thing, when you bought the shares, you must have had some certificates given to you as proof that you bought the shares. So those certificates have been dematerialized. What we mean is that you can no longer use those certificates. All the shares are now at the central CSS, at the depository. So, but you have to come out and say, these are my shares. So first, you go to your stockbroker. The stockbroker can help you with the process of dematerializing. Well, it's dematerialized already. Yes. It's just for you to claim. So all these shares are in a pool waiting for the owners. So if you have bought shares 10, 20 years ago and you don't know what to do, get those share certificates. That's the first step. Find out who is your broker. If you don't have one, get one.
What if their brokers have been liquidated?
That's why I said get one. The shares are not with the brokers. They are with the CSD.
Yeah.
So if you get a new broker, take those certificates to that broker. The broker will help you to claim those shares. They will open a CSS account for you, and those shares will be transferred into your account, and you start getting benefit for those shares. So, and it's a simple process. It's just that some people think, the shares are small or the dividends coming are little, but they are not. I can assure you. Someone claimed his own recently, and he told me the amount. I mean, the guy got alerts the whole day because he did all the mandates, and on a particular day, just started getting alert for shares, for dividends that had been paid for many years. He was very happy. He called me to tell me the amount. I will not say.
How about for those that, because I also get this question, for those that perhaps their parents have passed,
Yeah.
and they have share certificates as at that time. Oh, my dad bought shares in my name. We don't, or whether when you have a parent that have passed, under the bed one day you will just see, for some companies that are existing, not the ones that have, like some breweries company, all those, you know what I'm talking about. How can those people?
So we also
claim?
have a system. Follows what the probate, the legal, the legal methods for transfer of assets. So go to your broker. The broker will tell you everything you need to know. There should be, I'm not a lawyer, but there are things, documents you have to bring, letters of administration. You go through the probate system, and those shares can be transferred from the parents who are now deceased to the children or to whoever is the beneficiary. And those shares can now be put into the beneficiary's CSCS account.
Okay.
So there's a system for that.
So this unclaimed dividend stuff at 177 billion naira, do you think that BVN has a way of also, you know, moderating or reducing or solving this issue?
Yeah, we will say thanks to CBN and NIBS for the BVN. The BVN can help, and in the capital market we have tried to leverage the BVN to an extent. We would like to leverage it more, but I think that the BVN can help. But the thing is, those things were done without correct identities. We had people who wanted, because they wanted to buy more and more of into more and more of these IPOs, they used different names. Some rearranged their names, some used names of children and all that are not their names. Some even, you know, manufactured names. But what we are saying is, if you have proof, there are all kinds of things that can be used as proof. Things like, okay, this is a check I issued for it, this is the broker I gave it to, and all that. And you have proof that these shares were actually yours. These shares can now be put into your name. That's what we are saying. They all, no matter the name you use, no matter how you arrange the names. Some ladies use maiden names, you know, and now their names have changed, all their IDs have the new name. There's a process for it. Okay. Just start it off, and I'm sure you can complete it.
Okay, let's talk about other issues that also came out from the CMC meeting. The issue of corporate bonds exemption from taxes.
Yeah. Okay, so we used to have, for 10 years, we had tax waivers on corporate bonds, just as we have on the sovereign bonds. But those waivers expired at the beginning of the year, and that means that they're now being taxed. Transactions on these bonds are being taxed, which is it presents a disadvantage to the corporate bonds. You know, first, the corporate bonds, of course, are more risky than the sovereign bonds when they are denominated in Naira. And now the person who buys a corporate bond now suffers, again, tax. So what it has led to is an increase in the yield and further crowding out of the corporate bonds from the market. So what is happening is that we have the sovereign bonds getting, the quantum of sovereign bonds getting bigger and bigger, and those of corporate bonds reducing. So it's not a very good thing for the market, because what it's doing is it is denying the corporates that source of financing, that debt financing. Okay. So what we are saying is that these waivers should be reinstated. It is the belief of the Commission that in the long run, the government gets more from the fact that corporates can issue bonds than when they tax the bonds. Okay. Of course, when corporates issue bonds, they do more business, they are bigger, they have more profits, they pay more tax.
Okay. Who is SEC engaging? Because SEC is government. So who is SEC engaging to exempt corporate bonds from payment of tax? Are you engaging your minister?
Yes, we are.
You are government?
We are. No, we are. It doesn't work that way. You know, government has different facets. Yeah, government has different facets. If you bring someone from the FIRS here, he's going to argue against what I'm saying. Yeah. So. But I believe that at the end of the day, we would all agree at something that works. At the end of the day, we all mean well for Nigeria. We're engaging the minister, we're engaging FIRS, and we all have different points of view, but we all mean well for Nigeria. So at the end of the day, I believe that we will arrive at something that works for everyone, that gives the best to Nigeria and Nigerians. Okay,
finally, let's talk about the revision of the Capital Market Master Plan. I think in June, It was submitted to
The minister.
Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed. So speak to me about that, 2021 to 2025. You know, there was also a capital markets master plan, 10 years, during our remote haste period.
Correct.
Yeah, has that phased out? What exactly do we have now?
Okay. So during Aruma Ote's time, we had the capital market master plan that was to go from 2015 to 2025.
Yeah.
That is the document we have now reviewed.
Okay.
So we didn't set it aside, we only reviewed. You remember, it's a dynamic market. Things have changed, assumptions have changed. For instance, there are some products that they didn't think of in that document that we now have. You know, you can see digital assets and all that.
Yeah.
So we needed to, and this master plan is like a blueprint. It's like the map we have been following to develop the market. So we needed to update it to be more relevant to what obtains today. And that's why we reviewed it. So it's the same plan, but now reviewed to incorporate, you know, contemporary issues.
Okay, I think I'll have you again on another day because there are so many issues. But at least we looked at the CMC meeting a few days ago, some of the outcomes. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nancy,
for coming.
Yeah.